Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to episode 6 of the Wing Magma Podcast, a podcast where I discuss all the music I'm involved in, from music that I'm writing, music I'm playing, music I'm listening to, and music that I talk to my friends about. Apologies for last week. It didn't happen. I set up a call between myself, Jay Marlowe, and Pete Monk and recorded it, but the footage that came off the back of that was not particularly great, so I wasn't able to use it. So this week's podcast is just going to be me talking through the set list for our upcoming show at the Caskbah, which is on Friday the 3rd of March. That's essentially what the previous call was about. We were getting our set list together for that, and yeah, apologies, but it's just me this week. It's been a really cool couple of weeks for music writing. Lots of stuff going on all over the board again. I think I've probably come to a bit of an impasse with some of the Wing Magma stuff. I think so. My goal was to have 3 songs written and recorded by the end of March. I've probably got ideas kicking around for upwards of 10, but this part of the process is something that I struggle with. It's like ideas, coming up with ideas, capturing ideas is great, can do that, enjoy that, lots of fun. The thing that I struggle with is, really working on those things and turning them into actual shareable content. So last night I sat down and started to go through some of these ideas, and I tweaked and prodded at them and mixed them a little bit, but I don't know, it's the part of the process when it actually becomes a real thing. I think that's, I know, something that I need to work on, something I need to persist at, and I've got a month to do it. Like I say, plenty of ideas going around. Some of them are older ideas that I've had for a while, some that I've tried to do before, and then there's a whole bunch of new stuff that I don't really know how to categorize. I've recently purchased an 88 key MIDI controller and some kind of software packs, and they've kind of just messing around with them. I've come up with some stuff that I wouldn't have done without that, and I'm finding the exploration kind of phase really, really fun. But like I say, now it's time to take those ideas and make something. So that's all really cool. Bronze Age has just been super productive these last few weeks. We've taken a few ideas from an idea into a full song quite quickly. Everybody's firing very, very well at the moment. We're all contributing a lot. So I think we've got 3 songs on the boil that we're hoping to have ready. Hopefully they'll all be ready for our gig at the end of April, which is at Handmade Festival. Really, really happy to be playing that festival. When we started playing shows again, we had 1 new song, so we're currently up to 8 songs in total. And again, there's plenty of ideas kicking around there for even more new stuff. So we've started to talk about recording them. I think the original demo that's up on Spotify at the moment, they were demos essentially. I've grown to love them and love how they sound and the raw nature of them. I have always wondered what they would sound like if we recorded them properly. Essentially all that we did to record that demo was we set up 2 microphones pointing at our band to capture the all the music, and then we recorded vocals over the top, and that was that. So it was very, very lo-fi, very, very rough and ready. like I say, the sound of the room that we played in at the time was well captured, and I just really like it. I like that kind of vibe. So if we do go to a studio to record, there's been a couple of ideas about where we might go to record. I definitely still want to retain the raw live sound, and then vocals on top. We shall see where that one goes. But yeah, just a very exciting time. New material, new shows, and it's all coming together. So that's really, really cool. So right, on to this week's topic for the podcast. So the covers band that I'm in, A Volcano, have a gig on Friday the 3rd of March. So that's creeping up. I think, so just kind of stepping back about the covers band, this band has been going for 5 years now. Obviously there was a big lockdown in the middle of all of that. We got together because we were asked to for Jay's sister's birthday, and we just put a band together. A couple of songs we sang between us, the rest of them we just kind of printed off lyric sheets and invited people to come up on stage and join us, and it was just, that gig was so much fun. It just the weird thing about it for me is like playing live, in the bands that I'm in, I've always been in very, very niche bands with a limited appeal, I guess, and playing shows where people enjoyed what we were doing and got involved and sang along, and there was a completely different energy to that gig, which then made us want to do more shows. From that gig we got invited to do a wedding, so then we had to learn a bunch more songs, and then we just started to kind of gather momentum. And I enjoy that band for completely different reasons. I enjoy learning the songs, I enjoy playing the songs, I enjoy singing the songs, and that was a whole new avenue for me. I've never sang in any of our bands other than the odd bit of backing vocals, so to take lead vocals on some of the tracks was quite a challenge, one that I thoroughly enjoy, and like I say, it's opening me up for more stuff elsewhere in my musical outputs and things, bringing my confidence up and bringing my range out and all of that kind of stuff. So that's all been very, very positive. And I think just before we started doing that band, I always kind of frowned upon covers bands. I thought that's just what you did if you didn't have your own band. And in many ways that was true at the time of us starting the covers band. I didn't have anything else going on at that time. That was before Bronze Age got back together and whatnot. So, but like I say, you have to take your ego out of the situation when you're in a covers band. You're playing shows for other people's benefit, not your own. Obviously that plays a huge part in it, but when you're hired to play, you have to kind of, sometimes we play songs that really wouldn't want to play, but they can be fun, and people then enjoy them, and we get paid. We've earned more money from the covers band than I've ever earned doing anything else, and we kind of collect all of that money, and then a few years ago we spent, because we bought all of our own gear, and then any surplus cash we booked a studio for a few days. And yeah, so we took all of that money and we booked a studio out. We didn't have any songs to record. I think the plan was just as a bit of a break, we would go down there and see what happens. And we ended up recording 3 songs, which are still kicking around somewhere. We've never finished them. But it was more the going to a studio for a few days with your mates and having a laugh, and we did, and that was really, really cool. So yeah, the covers band is a very different avenue for me in terms of my musical outputs. It forces me to learn new songs. Playing and singing is a bit of a challenge. in a positive way. I've kind of come to terms with where I'm at with my singing. I can sing in tune 90% of the time. Am I, a great frontman? It's not really about that, and it always was for me in singing. Like when you got people like Martin in your band, he's a great frontman, great lyricist, great vocalist. It's like I don't need to try and compete in that space when you've got somebody like that on your team. So to kind of step away from that, and me and Jay taking up vocals in the covers band is, like I say, Jay's always sang in his band, so it wasn't anything new for him, but it was a whole new arena for me, and one that I've enjoyed. So now that I can stop gibbering on about all of that stuff, I thought I'd go through our set list for this gig. So great thing about playing the Caskbah is we get on really well with Craig, the venue owner, and Richard, one of the guys that works there. We played his birthday a few months back, and that was just loads and loads of fun. I think we recorded some of that gig, and I don't think the footage represented us particularly well. I think we ended up having a few drinks and just having fun, and that's what I like about playing at the Caskbah. It's about the vibe and the energy and the people, the crowd, just as much as anything else. It's not about playing things note perfect. It's about creating an environment, and that's what I really, really enjoy about it. So we've got another gig coming up there, and we get to play more of the songs that we want to play when we play the Caskbah, because we've kind of, over the years, we've carved out our niche, and essentially we're at our best when we're majority 90s alternative kind of vibes. That's the music that we all love and grew up on, and now we get to play it. And there's plenty of other people that come and enjoy us for that very reason. So we've learnt a few new songs because we wanted to inject a bit of life into our set, and we've got a couple of older songs, and we've got a couple of songs that we've not played at the Caskbah for a long time in this new set. So the reason why I've got this background is that I'm hopefully going to line up the set lists as I go through the names and kind of just talk about each of the songs in general. So we've got two sets that we're playing, so we have a little break in the middle, and it kind of pads out the time that we're there. So the first track for set one is My Name is Jonas by Weezer. So that's a new one for us, one that I'm singing. We saw a band play at the Caskbah last time we played there, and they covered this, and it was just like, wow, that's such a great song. Why haven't we played that? Why haven't we attempted that? That's just surely one for our list. So now it is, we've been learning it the past couple of weeks, so I like to think that it will end up being a bit of a mainstay in our set, because it's great. Some of the guitar parts are quite tricky, and the picking part at the beginning is harder than it sounds, and flipping from the kind of rhythm part to that part as it cuts in and out is interesting, so that's cool. Song number 2, Feel Good Hit of the Summer, Queens of the Stone Age. This one goes all the way back to our first gig that we played for Rachel's birthday. We chucked it in there because we thought it'd be quite an easy one, and it's not too tasking, but again, it's right in my range vocally. Jay does some really great backing on that, and it's quite a rowdy, ruckusy kind of song, so that's really cool. Number 3, Helter Skelter, The Beatles. So we actually used to cover this back in public relations exercise days, very, very early on, and it was always a lot of fun to play there. I sing it this time round, so I can't quite do it the same kind of justice that Martin did, but I try my best, and again, it's a lot of fun to play, a lot of fun to sing, and it's a good one to have in our set. Number 4, My Hero, Foo Fighters. So this is going to be one that Jay sings. We've tried many Foo Fighters songs to try and find our Foo Fighters songs, and I think we've got a couple in this set. This is certainly one of them. Goes down very, very well, and I don't know. I like the Foo Fighters. They're not challenging songs. I think it's just to get them right is quite challenging. So we've tried Everlong a few times, and it's just doesn't sit right with us. I'm not really sure why, but it doesn't. My Hero, however, does. So looking forward to that one. And then we've got Purple Haze, Jimi Hendrix. I think it's Jimi Hendrix is a risky one to try and cover. And again, like I don't try and play it note for note how Jimmy did. I try and play it the way I play it, and with my own kind of feeling to it to come off somewhat sincere. I think anytime you hear Jimi Hendrix playing it, there's always nuances to how he plays it, and I think if you're going to try and emulate Jimmy, you're going to fail. So I loosely know the solos and things like that, and I just kind of try and do my own thing with it. I've had some compliments from people when we play that. I think I pull it off. I certainly don't do Jimmy's version, let's just say that. But I think any guitar player that's come up to me afterwards and says it's a bit of a risk doing that, I think they get why I do it the way that I do it. So then we've got I Want to Be Your Dog, Stooges. I think this one, we've played this a few times, and again, this is another one that's just all about the vibe. It's not particularly complicated. Jay sings it, and it just sits really well. It's quite loud, quite ruckusy, quite simple. You know, that's pretty much what we want from one of these tracks. Then we've got Caught by the Fuzz, Supergrass. I've always was a bit on the edge with this one, but I've grown to kind of really love it. I think Gaz Coombs as a vocalist is somebody that I aspire to. I've learned that I've got a similar range to him. I don't have his tone or his character, but just knowing that I can sing Gaz Coombs songs, and they're quite acrobatic in vocally. And I was always just a huge fan of the first couple of Supergrass albums. So it's good to be playing this. They've got some interesting chord sequences, and they've always been a bit left of the norm, you know. So yeah, it's a great song. I really enjoy it. Should I Stay or Should I Go? The Clash. This will go down well at the Caskbah. You know, the name should give that one away. Pretty sure we've played it there before. It's kind of in our mainstream set. You know, like we've got different sets for different occasions, and this is a bit of an all-rounder, this song. It does multi-generations, or it caters for multi-generations. That's one that I sing. Jay does some really cool backing. It's a great cover song. Then we've got Aneurysm by Nirvana. So Jay sings this one. That sits really, really well within his range and his tone. Lots of fun. I kind of bought a small clone chorus pedal for this very reason. Works really, really well. Then we've got Testify, Rage Against the Machine. This is a relatively new Rage Against the Machine track for us. And I love it. I love it so much. I love playing Rage Against the Machine songs. Jay always sings the Rage songs. He's kind of built a bit of a rod for himself to do rapping. You'll never catch me doing that, but Jay can do it quite convincingly. Again, it's more his kind of gravelly tone that when he kind of raps, it's kind of he sings rhythmically in his tone. It just comes off really, really well. And again, it's just those riffs. The Rage Against the Machine riffs are just so satisfying to play. So that's really cool. Crazy Horses, the Osmonds. I mean, so I've got a Digitech whammy that does the thing quite well. Lots of fun to pull this one out. When you say that you play an Osmonds song, and like everybody that knows the Osmonds will know that this track from this album was a bit. It's not. What is it? Puppy Love? I'm not even sure what other Osmond songs there are, but like, it's a great rock tune. And Jay does the verses, I do the kind of bridge bit, and again, it's right in the I was going to say it's right in the pocket of what I can do. It's not actually. It's right on the edge of where I can get to. But when I hit those notes, it's pretty cool. And then this is a relatively new one to the set. The Chain, Fleetwood Mac. I think we heard Reef covering it, and it was just like, I think there's just a few Fleetwood Mac songs that are a bit, you don't want to touch them. And they're very covers bandy cover songs. But again, this one is just so much fun. It's very moody. The solo is very iconic, and that riff at the end is very kind of 101 kind of rock music, but it is 101 for a reason. It's because it's a great riff and it's a great song. Putting it at the end of the set, it's good for the audience. It's not necessarily good for me because like that's very north of my capabilities. Jay can do it very, very well, but we should probably try doing some harmonies on that maybe in the future, because I think there's opportunity for it. And going all the way back to the beginning, my name is Jonas. We've got the Weezer harmonies down for that, so we can do it. We should probably do it more. So that's the end of set one, and I think linking Crazy Horses and The Chain, we play the Iron Man riff, Black Sabbath, to link those two together, which is just, again, great riff. We've toyed around with doing the song, but it's just more, that riff is cool. Take or leave the rest of it. So then set two is quite probably a heavier set by the looks of it. So we open with Out of the Black, Royal Blood. I really forgot who that was. That was one of the first songs that I used to struggle with it quite a lot, and once I got it, I was quite chuffed that I was able to get in that register and do it relatively convincingly. It's also just full of great riffs, so that's a really good one to have in our set. Bulls on Parade, Rage Against the Machine. I mean, when we first started playing that, it was just so good. Went out and bought a wah pedal just so I could do the wow wow waka wow wow waka waka, those bits. Again, just great simple riffs, full of energy, really, really great. Then we've got Breathe by The Prodigy. We do like a bit of a three-piece punk cover version of it. Jay sings the whole lot. It's got quite a heavy ending. I feel like that's one of the few where we really do our own version of it. Most of them we do, they all sound like us when we play these songs, but most of the time we try and learn those songs. With this one, we actually figured out a structure for it and added bits and whatnot, so that's a lot of fun to play, and it goes down well in the Caskbah. I think Craig, the owner, is a big fan of it, because being the owner of a venue, you probably hear a lot of similar songs quite a lot by various cover bands, so you probably don't hear that very often. Then we've got Go With The Flow, Queens of the Stone Age. Again, that's one that I sing, and that's... So if I was going to try, and I should probably try this with my own stuff a little bit more, I can do Josh Homm's range and I can do Gaz Coombs' range, and I think between those two, if I tried to do something like that with my own stuff, I'd probably be okay. But yeah, Go With The Flow is very much in my comfort zone. Lots and lots of fun. Then we've got Twist and Shout, the Beatles. So we learnt this because we were asked to for one of our gigs, and we kind of did it very on the nose originally. And I think one time at band practice, just we were either frustrated with it or we just took the mick out of it. We did a bit of a metal version of it, like really screaming it. And I mean, like, John Lennon really kind of pushes his vocals on that to the edge. So when we do it, that's what we try and do, and it turns out to be quite punky. So that's another great one that I was relearning it earlier today. Looking forward to getting that one nailed when we next rehearse. Then we've got All My Life, Foo Fighters. This one is, I think, our Foo Fighters song. Like, My Hero is really, really good, but I think this one works really, really well. It's just a really well structured song when you get into it. Like, it's really well put together. It's very simple. There's not a lot to it, guitar-wise, but the combination of all of those riffs, the build-ups, the breakdowns, and the build-back-ups is just a really well put together song. Then we've got another new one, One Arm Scissor. There's probably going to be a bit of a question mark against this because it's absolutely mental to try and sing and play for me. Again, it's one with range, so the kind of division of labour for us is Jay does anything gravelly and shouty, and I do the stuff with range. So this one fell to me. We're going to try and mix it up because there's some bits that I would prefer just to concentrate on playing rather than try and play badly and sing badly. So, and it will give me a bit of a break in the middle of the song to come back and do the end. So hopefully Jay's going to pick up some of the responsibilities there. Then we've got Naked by Reef. This is one we used to play before, like in a band that I was in at high school with Martin. And it was always, the riff was always my nemesis. I could just never nail that riff. And to be honest, I still can't. I don't know why. Like, I like to think that I'm a relatively capable guitar player, but that riff kicks my ass. But again, it's a great song for this environment. It goes down really well. Then we've got My Own Summer, Deftones. We all it's again great riff, very shouty. I'm doing some shouty backing vocals, and like usually when we're practicing at the end of practice, we kind of turn around to each other and just like, what have we just done? What if our kids heard this? It's really metal, really shouty. Oh God, then it looks like we're going to end on Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. So I think we need to probably have a think about this, because again, any singer that attempts Freddie Mercury is stupid. Again, this one falls to me. We've done it once and it was good fun, but I think it might need to be earlier in the set. I can see why. So Jay's put this set together, and I can, in theory, it could be quite a boozy end to the set, but I think I'm singing probably 70-80% of this, and by the time I get to that, I'm going to be spent. And then we've got an encore of Killing in the Name. Like, we usually finish with Killing in the Name, and it's just a great way to end the set. Killing in the Name, Rage Against the Machine, for those that don't know Killing in the Name. Jay sings it, great riffs. The guitar solo in it, I was so happy to realise that it's not actually that complicated, but it just sounds great, and it sounds like there's a lot going on. And to kind of pull off note for note a Tom Morello solo, it's quite cool. But again, it's all down to the Digitech whammy. Sounds like there's more going on than there actually is. So yeah, that looks like a really, really great set. I'm really going to enjoy that. If anybody is in the Loughborough area, I don't think you have to pay to get in or anything like that. But payday should have happened by then. Come down, get involved, have some fun. Because it will be a lot of fun. The Caskbah shows are my favourite shows to play. It's just great atmosphere. Everybody's there for some fun. Craig usually gets on. I've missed out Ziggy Stardust. I was going to say, because like somewhere in there we've got Ziggy Stardust. Again, that's one of our middle of the road, all ages, suits any kind of gig, any profile of audience. But I particularly enjoy playing at the Caskbah because Craig will always grab a mic from behind the mixing desk. He'll be at the back of the room and he'll do backing vocals. And his backing vocals are so on point. And I remember the first time he did it, it was just like, I didn't realise he was doing it, but it was coming out of the PA, it was coming out of the monitors. And I turned over at Jay and I was just like, Jay's fucking nailing this. It's just like, no, it's Craig, and Craig's just got a fantastic natural ability to harmonise. So yeah, that'll be in there too. So yeah, so busy week coming up. I think we've got a couple of rehearsals ahead of the gig, and we've also got another Bronze Age rehearsal coming up because now we're getting close to the gig. We're going to be parking, writing, and just get down to learning songs for that show. So yeah, it's really busy, lots still going on, even though I've had a week off and I've kind of taken the foot off the pedal with the daily riffs. I mean, I want to, just not sure how well received they're being, so probably taking a break from that isn't the worst thing in the world. But yeah, I hope to see you all. I hope to see many of you at the gig next week. Stay tuned for more podcasts. I've got a couple in the pipeline that I need to book in with a few friends and some interesting conversations that I'm looking forward to having at the same time. Take care of yourselves. Remember, at Wing Magma are across most platforms, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. If you look for at Wing Magma, you'll probably find me. Take care of yourselves, and I shall see you soon.